Hi everybody, welcome to Old Guy's Garage. Alright everybody, so had the A-arms here laid out, getting ready to press these bushings in. You can also see some of the other parts that I painted and prepped. This guy here, looking nice, ready to go. And then cleaned up these nuts, as well as these washers, painted those. So that way after all this is installed it should look really, really nice. So got the retrospective bushings as well as ball joints lined up next to each A-arm, just to make sure I'm doing a final parts check here. And then these guys here, which I cleaned up. I cleaned up the rubber just using a sanding wheel. Got all the dirt and grime off. So, and then these guys here are going to be going on like that. So, the next step here that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking these bushings out, leaving the parts in this bag in the boxes. And then things out, and I'm going to be freezing the bushings. And then hopefully, it's an experiment, I'm going to see if that helps me press these in a little easier when I freeze these guys. So, let's see what happens. Man oh man, these guys are going to look great when it's all said and done. So, and then we can get them back on the 72, which is a big deal. So, anyhow, stay tuned. We'll go over some more details here shortly. And the tools. Okay, now that we've put the ball joints and the bushings in the upper and lower A-arms, I just got all my tools here before I put them away. I definitely had this ball joint separator and compressor tool here that I got from Harbor Freight. Really worked great. Used many of these just in different combos to press the different bearings in, as you'll see when you watch the video. This is an 1.25 inch pipe. This worked fantastic. This was my setup
that I used to hammer in the upper A-arm bushings. And then I was also able to take this off. And just this lid here, or this cap, came in handy if I use this guy here to help compress and push the bushing into the upper or lower A-arm. These wrenches here, I believe this guy, the 7/16, I did definitely used him on the upper ball joint. 15/16 was just primarily used on the upper A-arm. The breaker bar came in handy, had to up on the when you were especially torquing the lower ball joint. And pushing some of the bushings in, you know, it really helped. This was my spacer. It ended up working really good. So find some spacers that you can use to keep the A-arms from compressing on themselves when you're pushing the bushings in. 7/8 socket, that really came in handy for this guy here. And then I believe this guy here is 9/16. This was used to put the bumpers on the lower A-arms. And then this here was, I believe, a 1/2-inch socket. Yes, a 1/2-inch socket, or 7/16 I should say, that we used. 7/16 that we used on the upper ball joints. So got my handy dandy 24-ounce ball pin hammer. This came in handy to just get a little bit extra force. White lithium grease, and I used these just in case I had to kind of fudge the bearing, the bushings in a little bit, just to get the direction headed to where I wanted to. So that's the only reason I used those. I know in earlier videos I used these to destroy the bushing. This time I used these to help guide the bushing. So there you go, guys and gals. This sums it up. These are the tools that I use to put the bushings and the ball joints in those upper and lower A-arms. Okay, so what we're going to do now is put these bushings in and press them in here and here, and then I'm just going to put the washer and this nut on the end of it as well. So that's going to be the first step here in rebuilding these guys. Alright, we're going to grab another bushing here. Alright, there we go.
Alrighty, here we go. Let's get our tools here prepped. First thing I'm going to do is put some grease on this, white lithium grease. You can see. Alright, then I'm going to smear some on this, and this is a bushing that we just took out of the freezer. Make sure you have a rag handy. I just had one handy and I don't know where it went, so hold on. Here we go. So what I'm going to do here, get this guy here going, like that. And then one thing that I did do was just get it going with this thing. And then we're going to use the ball joint press. And you can see, for the most part, it goes in pretty easy. Just like that. Now we're going to use the ball joint press. So I'm going to take this cap off, like that, and I'm going to use that on this end like this. Okay, so here we go. And I'm using this guy. We're going to do that. Going to do that. And loosen him up some more. Come in that way. I'm going to make sure that that's on the center of that cap as close as we can get it. Hand tighten it. Make sure that we like the alignment and we like the placement of this part on that there. Okay. Put the 7/8 ratchet. Make sure it's in the right position. And I'm going to start turning it here. You know what, I'm going to set this wrench underneath there just to help me kind of pivot and get that right in the center there. Perfect. So spend some time here and get this in alignment where you want it. And then when you're ready, there we go. When you get close, it gets pretty darn tight, and then that's when I'm just going to get my body behind it. And that should do it. I'm going to wipe that off, see where we're at. Oh yeah, we're looking good. We are looking good here. Hey, cool beans. All right, let's back this off. So that's that side. Get this guy cleaned up here for you. So he's pressed in. You know. So now we're going to do the other side. So for the other side, I grab this guy, one of these, and one of the nuts here. We're going to thread him through. Like that. Put the washer on this end and tighten this nut down. And that's when this 15/16 wrench comes in handy. And I'm just going to tighten it to where it's flattened with the threads, it flushes out. Okay, so there we are. I'm going to run inside and grab the other bushing. Oh, huh. Okay, so not cool. I just noticed my camera was not recording when I hammered this guy in place. So what I did here, let me loosen this guy up. Okay, so what I did, put the cap on my pipe, placed them over the rubber bushing like this to where just the pipe was hitting the metal here, and then I tapped this guy in place. Okay, so that's what I did. No secrets. And then there's the washer. I'm going to go ahead and put this bolt on and wind this guy down. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the ball joints in the front here. So as far as end product, there we go. Okay, so we got these guys in. Looking good. Now we're going to get the ball joint in. And what I'm using here, my favorite socket, 7/16 with the long socket there, socket wrench, and then the 7/16 wrench. So let's get our parts opened up here. Got the ball joint. Got the rubber boot. Got the retainer there. And let's open up this parts here. Okay, so I am going to separate the 4 nuts, the 4 bolts, and then the castle nut and cotter pin I'm going to put back in the bag and then back in the box. So at the end, what I'm going to do is put these in their own Ziploc bags, kind of like we did here to the old spindle bolts. Okay, so here we go. We got our parts, we got our ball joint, boot, and this retainer, and our nuts and bolts. Okay, so here we go. Gonna drop ball joint in. Oops. Jeez Louise, I think it's amateur hour here or something. Okay, I'm gonna put the boot on. I'm gonna leave this guy here. You can see the little groove there pointed to the center of this here. Press him. I'm going to just try to get him down as much as possible here. Okay. Then I'm going to grab this retainer for the other side. Push him down equally on both sides. Just like that. I'm going to run 1 nut through and get him going. I'm going to keep the round side of the nut up. Okay, got him. Do another one here. Get him going. There you go. Now I'm going to do the other side. Push down, get that nut started. And one last bolt here. I'm going to push him through. And then get this nut started. Okay. I'm going to use a wrench on this side, on the underside. And then the socket wrench up top here, and we're going to start tightening these guys up. I'm going to get them snug and just work my way around. Alright, going to this bottom one here. Just working my way around. There we go. Okay, so those are getting tighter. Alrighty, there we go. Ball joint number 2 is in. So these upper A-arms, they are set to go. So there we go. These A-arms are ready to go back on the 72 Cutlass. So that's very exciting. Man, come a long way. Come a long way in a short time. I feel like I just took these off like a week or 2 ago, even though it's been a little longer. So anyhow, man, those look great. Might touch them up a little bit after they're back in the car, but boom shakalaka. Let's move on to the lower A-arms. All right, here we go. I just grabbed this guy here out of the freezer, so he's good to go. Got some lithium grease. Put in here real quick. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put the bushing in. And then I've got this guy here, which works really well. You can see he fits just around it. I'm just using this just to get him going. Okay. Now he's in there a little crooked, if that's the case. them out a little bit. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this guy here. This works really well for this side. And then I'm going to use this cap for this side over here. Just like that. We're going to press this guy in. And I also have a socket to press down in there to keep those arms there from collapsing. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, that's the one. Get this guy here going. And occasionally I grab a few wrenches and use those to help me get these where I could be dead center. Almost as shims. Okay, I want to make sure he's as centered on that bushing as possible. Okay. And how I did this before, I tightened it up, loosened it, tightened it up, and repositioned it just because I didn't want it going in crooked. So here we go. Get this guy going in the right direction. There we go. And you can kind of feel him. He's just moving real slowly but smooth. Okay, he is there. Okay. We got bushing down number 1. Okay. Now we're going to do bushing number 2. All right, it's the last one out of the freezer. There we go. I put him in there. Cool beans. All right. Well, let's get to it. Put some grease in it here. This stuff, once it gets on your fingers, man, it just gets on everything. So I'm trying not to touch it. Okay. Here goes the bushing. I'll turn this guy on its side. And I'm just going to see if I just can't tap him a little bit here. Just to get him to where he'll stay in. Okay. Definitely not the straightest, but I think not too bad. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this guy on this side with, let's see, I believe it's this guy here. Let me make sure. Yep, this guy here on the inside, followed by this guy. Here we go. I think I can get this in. There we go. Okay. So tight squeeze. There we go. I'm centered on the bushing. Okay. There we go. turn this way. Now I'm going to push this guy in. Last night he went in for me, so let's see what happens here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh man, I want to get my breaker bar out to finish the job here. All right. Go ahead and align this guy. Yay! Got him. This guy's in. And there's a look at the other one. All right, let's get that ball joint in. Gonna move back up to the bench. All right, let's do that last ball joint here, guys. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Ball joint. Ball joint. All right, I got all my castle nuts in this one box. I'm gonna put them in a Ziploc bag. I think that's what I need to do. Empty, 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 empty. Put them in the trash. Yay! I'm dwindling down some of my parts. It's an awesome experience. Okay. So let's get this ball joint going here, man. Look at that beauty. All right. So let's find the one here that's going to work the best here on the bottom. Oh yeah, that fits right in. Man, that fits right in. Okay, so got that. That's going to go in on the bottom. Okay, we might have to go back to the floor to press this guy in. He's going to take some torque. Okay, and then, yeah, I feel a little bit better with that bigger one on top here. There we go. Messing up my paint job here. Okay, so let's get to it. I think the easiest solution is for me probably just to hang this guy off the bench here like that. Okay, let's do it to it. Got this. It's a C-frame. This one here is the one I want to go up underneath. There we go. Voila. Pretty nice. There we go. Boy, this is just big enough to make this happen. Okay. Alrighty. So, as you can see, this is what we got. And I'm going to pick my remaining tools off the floor. All right. socket. Make sure this guy's into tightening mode. There we go. Okay, I'm going to have to start using the breaker bar now. And we're going to go back to the floor. Okay, here we go. Here's our setup. And we are going to do some torquing. Let's see, yeah, let's do it that way. Breaker bar, 7/8 socket. Here we go. It's rather satisfying to see it actually going in the frame. Slowly but surely. And I mean, man, does this breaker bar make a difference as you're trying to press these in. Just the leverage is so much easier. Man, that's just about in there. Just about got it. Okay, we are in. Okay, so I'm just gonna undo it here. There we go. Alrighty. There we go. And let's put the boot on. This boot here. Oops, forgot which one of these I used to press on the boot. I think it was this one. So I put this boot on like that, and then put this guy on, put this guy on. Well, let me use the other one. The other one, because this has a bigger hole. And just pressed him in place. Go a little bit more. Just about there. Look at that. Yeah, that's all the way down. Boy, looks like a beauty. Thing of beauty. Come a long way doing this myself. So, learned a lot. Spend more on tools than I wanted to. But, just not a big fan of, I don't know. I just didn't want to rent tools. I mean, I like buying them. They're only going to get more expensive, you know, as time goes on. So, there we go. Okay. One final detail here. And that's this bumper. And this is a 9/16. 9/16. There we go. So beyond some touch-up, these boys are ready to go on the car. All right, here we go. Voila. Boom. Voila! Man, that feels good. Wow. I feel like once I get these back on the car and get the springs put back in with the spindles locked in, man, I feel like it's going to be downhill from there. Completing the rest of the disc brake conversion, man. Excited to be bleeding the brakes in no time on this car and get her back on the ground. Get the carb rebuilt. Man, and hopefully be turning it over soon. So this is really exciting. Alrighty.
Okay, guys, check out those A-arms, steering arms, as well as those springs. I have a couple of quick tip videos where I was cleaning these up, taking the old bushings out, and all that fun stuff, even painting the springs. So, glad we were able to make it this far. Not a mechanic by trade, but these look pretty darn good. And you gotta love these old cars. They're like really big model cars, you know? Not too overly complicated like today's stuff where you can barely fit your hand in even in an engine compartment, you know. So this has been a lot of fun so far. Very rewarding to see the end of the work. So the end finished product as you go along. So man, all this stuff looks good. I can't wait to get it on the car.
Alright, well that does it for this episode. Appreciate you watching. Hope it helped somebody out there. Hope it inspired somebody out there. So I know there's a lot of people out there working on their classics. My wife and I do meet them and stumble across them at car shows, especially in the spring and summer. So I know as far as this project goes, this is another big step forward for me, big accomplishment with the bushings and the ball joints, you know, painting the springs, getting them ready for it to be reassembled. So I'm there, I'm ready, I'm excited, as anyone would be, I take it in this position. So thanks for watching. Just remember, whether it's a classic car, muscle car, race car, your dream car, let's keep them running. We'll see you next time.